Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Hi, folks. Welcome back. And if you are new, welcome. Well. From Fox News, Trump's surge in polls with black voters stuns CNN analyst. Truly historic. Stunned, mind you. Support among black voters could reach a decades-high margin for a Republican candidate, the analyst said. Well, let's take a look at what he says here. It's going to be interesting. Here's the video. It's a short one. It's only a minute long, and then we'll read the article.
Look at this number for Donald Trump, 22%. Where was Donald Trump at this point 4 years ago in the polls? He was just at 9% of the vote. So he's seen more than a doubling in his support among African Americans. This margin, which was in the 70s just 4 years ago, look at where it is now, 69 minus 22. That puts it in the 40s. My goodness gracious. If this held through the general election, obviously we're still months away, this would be by far the best performance for a Republican candidate among black voters in a generation, 2 generations, probably since 1960 and Richard Nixon against John F. Kennedy. That's how long we're really talking about when we're looking at this margin here. This could be a truly historic margin. It's quite a troubling sign for the Biden campaign.
Truly troubling sign. Former President Trump's surge in the polls among black voters is a troubling sign for the Biden campaign, a data reporter warned Friday. Now, I want to say up front before we read the rest of the article, I think it's kind of ridiculous to bundle all people together. In other words, all blacks vote this way or think this way. All Asians vote and think this way. All whites vote and think this way. Hispanics, it just rubs me the wrong way. I think it's just terrible to say that, but unfortunately, that's the way these polls go, and that's the way people are polled. Recent polling shows the former president can get a historic boost from black voters in November if they continue to sour on President Biden. CNN data analyst Harry Enton reported. My goodness gracious, he said. Oh, yeah. He showed that Trump's support among black voters more than doubled the 22% compared to 2020. Meanwhile, Biden saw a 12% drop, though he still holds a 47-point lead, and you see there. If this continued in November, Trump could win a larger share of black voters than any Republican candidate since 1960. And those of you that are young and don't remember or haven't read it in your history class, and you should have, they don't teach history anymore, that's the Kennedy-Nixon closest election, my understanding is, in the history of the U.S. If not, it's very close. This will be by far the best performance for a Republican candidate among black voters in a generation. 2 generations, probably since 1960, and Richard Nixon against JFK. This could be a truly historic margin. It's quite a troubling sign for the Biden campaign. Yeah, he sounds really disappointed. I didn't know CNN was a part of the Democratic National Committee. Well, we all know they are. It's just they're not hiding it anymore. However, there's a stark difference when factoring age. The polling average CNN cited showed 82% of black voters 50 and older, but that dropped to 62% for voters under 50. Trump has support from 25% of black voters 18 to 49, 3 times more than older voters. See, it's the older, I've always voted Democrat my whole life, people. It makes me crazy. I'll tell you the truth. Unless a local race, my father used to have a saying when he was alive. He was a Republican like I am now. He said, the closer the race is to my house, the more I vote the person rather than the party, i.e. a mayor, city councilman, things like that. When he go up higher, state and federal level, he always voted Republican no matter what. And I think the older people, I'll be 68 this November, so I guess I'm in that category, especially older blacks, have always voted for D's, always. And now that's starting to change. That's a good sign when younger black voters, especially the males, are not automatically giving their vote to Democrats anymore. This is historic. This is what a lot of folks have been talking about, that Joe Biden has a specific problem among younger black voters, especially the males. And that's exactly what's showing up right here. It's these young black voters who very much are turning on him, meaning Biden, and being much more supportive of Donald Trump than they were 4 years ago. Now, my understanding from seeing a couple of panels of voters and getting their input, some of the black voters in these little, I guess you would call just polls to get the strategy down, is young black males now somehow they feel that just like them, that they've been screwed over by the justice system, Donald Trump has too. And now they have some empathy for him because it happened to them, and now it's happening to President Trump. And that's amazing that the DNC, the Democrats, could be so messed up that a billionaire real estate developer who's white can now get the empathy of young black men. Only the DNC can pull that kind of ridiculousness. It's a Washington Post poll from April found enthusiasm was way down among black voters, and that fewer are expected to turn out this election. That's another good thing for Trump. If the ones that don't turn out, of course, are the people that supported Biden or Democrats in the past, that's a good thing if you're a Republican, especially for down ballots for the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. The latest Fox News poll showed Biden receiving 72% support among black voters. That's up from 66 in February, but still a drop from his 79 before the 2020 election. Among all voters, Trump holds a narrow lead over Biden. Now, I'm going to go off tangent a little bit here about Trump's narrow lead. If President Trump wins the popular vote, there are many states, I think there's a dozen or so plus states, that have changed their state laws that said the person that wins the popular vote, no matter what our people in our state vote, in other words, just like with Hillary Clinton, she won the popular vote, Trump won the Electoral College. Those states would say we changed the law now where anybody that wins the popular vote automatically gets all of our electors. So theoretically, if Trump gets the popular vote, even by a small margin, those dozen plus states are required, and they're mostly Democrat states, mind you, deep Democrat. Their law says that they have to give their electoral votes to Trump if he wins the popular vote. That could really up the electoral numbers for Trump. Now, having said that, we'll see interesting how, if Trump wins the popular vote, how those states will renege, and they will. They'll renege on giving all the electors to Trump. Fascinating stuff going on. This is really historic stuff. If you're like me, a political junkie, I'm involved very much in local politics here in upstate New York. I was a sitting city council member from 2000 to 2007. I was also 1 year the council president. And I'm involved in a lot of local elections, congressional elections, county, city, sheriff, mayor, things like that, council members. Been involved in a lot of them, ran in a lot of them for myself personally as the candidate. There's a lot of things that were somewhat etched in stone concerning Republicans and Democrats in the voting demographics. That seems to be changing dramatically. Is that a good thing? Yeah, I think it is. Frankly, I think it is. The only part that Trump has to work on, or his people, is the demographic of the black voting females. That he's got very little support percentage-wise. But the black males now have empathy for Donald Trump being harassed and just bullied by all of these prosecutions. That the system is working against him, just like these young black men think it did to them. And so it's just amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. The Democrats, as usual, overplayed their hand when it comes to prosecutions on Trump. Big time. Overplayed their hand. Now, the Republicans never play a hand. Trump taught them how to fight back. We're going to have to see. But this is encouraging news, folks, if you're a Trump supporter. Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.